Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 5 of Hellraiser Bestiary. Now this continues on from the previous series I was running here on the channel, the Hellraiser 1 through 33. So if you've missed that, you'll find part 1 to that link down below. Please do go and check it out. Now if you've enjoyed this series thus far, please don't hesitate to give the videos big thumbs up, share them, as well as let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. You can also check out my Patreon as well as PayPal for a way to tip and support the channel. Anyway, that being said, let's dive right into it. Solving puzzles. That was his thing. They usually have a thing, kids like Jeremy. They play the piano better than a pro concert pianist, or solve equations faster than a team of mathematicians, or memorize the score of every major league game in history. Jeremy had a problem. Been told a lot of kids these days have it. He didn't know how to speak or make eye contact or use a toilet. But he knew puzzles. They were the only thing that kept his attention. The only thing that he could do without crying or screaming or banging his head against the wall. It took me a long time to learn that his thing, his passion, was puzzles. Before that, his life consisted almost exclusively of crying, screaming, and self-abuse. It never ended. There were times, on the really hard days, that it felt more like I was raising an animal than a son. But the puzzles saved him from a lifetime of misery. Saved us both, really. The only time I saw glimpses of the old, frustrated Jeremy was when he finished a puzzle. And as soon as the last piece was in place, if there wasn't a fresh puzzle in front of him, he would revert back to the way he was. Bring him a new one and the fit would stop just like that. Besides the occasional relapse, my boy was content. He wasn't happy. I'm not entirely sure he was capable of happiness, but he was content, and I was more than happy to continue to bring him puzzles as long as it kept the tantrums at bay. This was fairly easy at first, until I realised that he remembered every puzzle he solved, and he refused to solve the same one twice. I managed to get by for a while by simply walking into department stores and cleaning them out of every jigsaw puzzle in stock. But he was solving them so quickly, I ran out of local places to search. That's when his obsession became my obsession. I began scouring specialty puzzle web stores for new arrangements and varieties. It always had to be something new, something fresh, to keep his attention. And eventually, I had to broaden my search outside of jigsaws, 3D puzzles, disentanglements puzzles, and sliding puzzles, anything to keep him interested and keep me sane. Then, after nearly 2 years of peace, I was reintroduced to the old Jeremy. I don't know why, but he had finally grown tired of the one activity that brought him any solace. No matter how unique or complex, he had no interest in anything I gave him. I refused to believe that he had tired of puzzles completely. Maybe it was sheer desperation, but I was certain I could find something to pacify him. He just needed something different, some new thing that he could solve. I joined puzzle enthusiast message boards and pleaded my case. I begged them, literally begged them to help me find something to stop the madness. And for months, nobody responded. It was only when things looked the most hopeless that somebody wrote me back. They sent me a link to what they described as the most sophisticated and difficult puzzle box ever made. It cost as much as a used car, but I didn't care. If it kept the insanity at bay, even for a week, the damn thing was my salvation, and it was worth every penny. The next day, when the package arrived, I fell into a panic. This thing, this stupid hunk of wood, was either the miracle I'd been waiting for or an incredibly expensive reminder that my son will never stop destroying my home and my life. My hands were shaking as I presented it to him. For the first time since I was 13 years old, I prayed to God. I prayed that Jeremy would just take the box out of my hand. And he did. I prayed that he would find the same contentment that he had before. And he did. For weeks he sat in his room in silence. Every waking moment was spent rubbing, pressing, rotating, pushing, pulling and shaking that box. He tried everything, but it just wouldn't open. He never once got frustrated, never once gave any sign of boredom or stress. Jeremy was confused. Jeremy was consumed. But it was just a hollow hunk of decorated wood, and he'd spend the rest of his life consumed in the futile effort of solving it. I'd have been okay with that, I think. But it wasn't a block of wood. It was something else. And when I heard the screams, I'd assumed that he'd either finally solved the puzzle or he'd simply become bored of it. And after weeks of peace, was starting all over again. But I was wrong. It wasn't starting again. It was over. It was finally over. I don't know what else to tell you. That's what happened. A box abducted your son. That's your story. It's not a story. This is ridiculous. Doesn't make any more sense to me than it does to you. You killed your son because his handicap made your life hell. Makes plenty of sense to me. You hated your son. Of course I did. But he's my flesh and blood. He's my son. For God's sake, I'd never hurt him. Enough fucking lies. Just tell us where you hid the body. Please believe me. I'm telling you the truth. Where is he, Dale? I don't know. I just hope that for once in his life he's happy. And there we see a man on hooks and chains. Please, just kill me. End it, for the love of God, end it. And we see Pinhead. Very well. You have suffered amicably, sinner. Your wish is granted. And with that, the body is torn asunder. But Pinhead's not alone. He turns and he speaks to someone. Come, apprentice. And we hear Dale, and I pray that wherever he is, he's got the greatest puzzle of all to solve. Piece him back together, so that I may resume his torments. And there, Dale's autistic son picks the flesh up and begins rebuilding the corpse. A horrific puzzle for all eternity. And now we continue with the Hellraiser anthology before we get to the main event. We see a man sat in a kitchen, answering a phone, with a box next to him. The puzzle box. Hello? Why? Why did you? I don't... Sarah, are you... Please, Phil, don't. No, please stop. Sarah, what? Sarah's hung up. Phil, I said I wanted... What was that, Sarah? What was what? You're calling me, screaming in my phone. It sounded like you were in trouble with something. Something was wrong. Phil, I didn't call you. I haven't changed my mind. I'm not ready to talk to you. Not yet. When I am, I'll call you. Later that night, Phil's in bed. A shadowy figure approaches. Why? Please, no. Please stop, please. He turns the light on. The hell? And the next day, Phil's going about his life. He's at work in the office. Yeah, I'm nearly done with the model design of the cube. By tomorrow, I should be able to send it to our 3D modelers and they can start on the proto. But he's on the phone and another voice answers. No, it's not on the phone, it's on the computer. Please, Phil, don't, no, please stop. I just wanted to make sure that you were okay, please. What? I'll have to call you back, sorry. On the screen we see a bloodied woman. Please, Phil, don't, no, please stop. He shuts the computer down and runs out. What are you trying to do to me? He's on the phone. I told you to stop calling me. I need space. I get it. You've told me several times. And if you want space so goddamn badly, Sarah, why can't you just leave me the fuck alone? Phil, I don't know what the... Is this your revenge? This is how you get back at me, pranks? What are you... The voice behind him, once more. Why? He hangs up. And as he looks up on the screens of the busy street, it's Sarah all over the place. Bloodied. Beaten. Horrifying scenes. The man, over several days, just begins to go insane. It's all he can see. Why? Why did you? I don't... I just wanted to make sure that you're okay. Please, Phil, no. Why? Why did you? I don't. Please, I just wanted to... And as he goes insane, he just shouts, No! Leave me alone! Who's there? Leave me alone, please. Just leave me alone. And 3 days later, Sarah is with her parents. What's wrong, honey? That was a friend from Phil's work. He hasn't been in days. He's not answering the phone or his emails. No one can get in touch with him. Did they call the police? It's not your problem anymore. No. Let's not get carried away. I'll go. Make sure he's okay. The last couple times I talked to him, it sounded like something was bothering him. It's just... I was still so mad at him, I didn't want to listen to it. You're leaving now? It's getting late. It'll be past midnight before you get there. I'll be fine. I just want to get this over with. And that night we see a shadowy figure approach Phil as he's in bed. Phil. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. Please. It's Sarah. He turns. He thinks it's someone else. Leave me alone! Phil, no! He stabs her. Sarah. Why? Why did you? I don't. Please, Phil. Don't. No, please stop. She's on the floor, bleeding. And as she crawls away, Phil stands there, screaming. No, Sarah, oh God! But we see who was working through him all this time. It was the female cenobite. And now, ladies and gents, the main event. The burnt body of Pinhead begins to walk through Vatican City. Poachers are a disgraceful breed. They will pay their violations in kind. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, ruin for ruin. Your celebrations will be brief, I promise you. Damnation! I forgot how fragile a wounded human body can be. Like Samson without his locks. I am enfeebled. Damnation. He starts to hear the fire engines approach the location of where he was burned. Providence is not with me on this day. Do I stand my ground, or enter the conflagration, the welcoming embrace of the inferno always wins. He's approaching flames. This is not how I die. is engulfed by them now. Damnation. The rafters snap above his head. Providence. It crashes before his feet. It would seem. It smashes a hole in the floor. Has a plan for me yet. He jumps down. And as he jumps down, the roof of the building collapses on top of him. I repeat, this is not how I die. The burning wood ripped his body apart. Blood just pours out. Wait. I know that smell. That beautiful, terrible, copper-tinged aroma. It's blood. My blood. I'd recognize it anywhere. He's now in the sewers in Vatican City. What's this? He finds a skeleton. Another good omen. The poachers are close. This farce is almost at its end. I'll find you. I'll collect my personal effects, and oh, how I'll requite your brutalities. What is it your Bible says? Ask, and ye shall receive. Providence. Pinhead is watching his assailants. They're giving over the pins to the Cardinal. Well, you are in receipt. Now where's our money? Is a fickle mistress.